Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching me. Another brother, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍, Gambia. I just want to have a quick discussion with you regarding some of the happenings in Bangkok recently, especially after the gala protests. 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍. And again, today, if you listen to the revelations, it comes from the Secretary to Cabinet regarding the Yana Commission issues. So I just want us to have a brief discussion about some of those issues. Gala protest recently, after the protest, especially Kabonang NPP mafia government bulu we mean attending Gambian call the Muslim final the tower. That is very important because Kabin Gala protest keta Nagele Minister of Works Adiamta, my own brother Ibrahim Silla, Kabin Gala protest keta Nagele Minister of Agriculture Demba Sawali Afrandiamuta. So why are they paranoid? Because we are fighting against a system it's affecting the Gambian people. We are fighting against the system it's even affecting the government. It will so because the corruption of the corruption is something I believe it's a business of every citizen. Banku do better business them. So Lindol Fintita to tell Gambians there is corruption going on in Barra's government. And actually we feel like that corruption obey na banko samba kan komale abena governance ning about stop kan like the progress of the country is actually not amantataka nyama. And we believe Natara MPP government, they are genuine. I mean, why are they scared? Why are they angry about us? Milatin be conferring and Gambian call because Gambian call le findita yela frustration of tan. Gambian call le findita ya tandiko sunyaro tapaleya and nakarantu ya wolebe na masakunda kon o wolebe kir na banko kan. And so in Gambian call findita you know say it will be menke kan like they're trying to justify about the happiness milke in banko kan. But left at men for a Gambian call na left na kacha. Alinkanason yule mol hakilo janjandi. Yajale the only thing left at Bangla men go okay, there are corruptions going on in the local governments. Okay, who is denying there are corruption in the local governments? Or corruption in local governments? Who is here to deny that? Jumala for your foy. Did they actually hear from the Gala protesters there is no corruption in the local governments? No. Any of the Gala protests. Because in fact, it's like even more feeling they can damage all in the go. Forgetting this go, Gala protesting, there was a petition made along, it goes to the Yasama Galga. I mean, for the local councils, corruption will be taken here. Puye, be Fenkel on Yamen, be call you the coil on Yamen. And in fact, left a Gambian colleague may understand and will mean to call. Barrow is the president of the Republic. And is the one at the mood mayor longo bankola ko be batle buloko. In fact, if you go to near bankola luabuko jibe at some point president was sembo sotole I mean through the parliament put a local government so that can dissolve. So if you feel like there are corruptions going on at the local government I mean local councils, you know, I mean do that's like who can mayor longo the killer. So but at the end of it, it will be bloody men that will blame game. And I don't think a competent government should rely on a blame game. Competent government, when you can make all you go, Nimbanko don't go Sunyaro Lebejam, Banko don't go Limbala Lebejam, Yakis, Yalong I coin. Because one thing is very important. Power belongs to the people. Sembo banko dungo le bulu. Banko dungo le ka karta president. Banko dungo le ka karta chairman. Banko dungo le ka karta mayor. Banko dungo le ka karta councilor. Banko dungo le elected members. Well, elected members of Cindy. So no bank dungul yela complain okay one of the key points or one of the key sector me along wala ka bank dungul la nit ni ta ka respect is the supreme person out of all these elected members. Who is the supreme person? Jumala sembo warate beti bi. Menna sembo warate beti. Willem the president of the republic. So president of the republic now all this thing has to go to him. If he is ready, Gambians are ready to support him to fight against corruption. So this means we are not saying that President Barrow you are corrupt. We are not saying Minister Karin you are corrupt. We are not saying Chairman Karin you are corrupt. We are not saying Mayor Karin you are corrupt. We are saying there is corruption in our country. But corruption will be in Bangkok and it need to be addressed. That's what we are saying. And now President of the Republic is the person who is the supreme person in our country. Because Gambian call koi cut off atele. If we believe this Gambian call koi cut off atele, Gambian call cut off, and that was through free and fair election, I believe the president need to act. So the blame game, women fend that we don't expect the blame game President to kill. But the thing is, they are scared. Because imagine, for example, ite mira masakunda me ya lonko ila masakunda me lori masakunda me ngo police will be buloko. What is the importance of having a police in the country? Minimum importance of the police. What is the duty of the police? And those police are under you as president of the republic. What is the importance of the soldiers? Police all the security sector is it that the president is telling us the security should not do any work may longer bank do nafala? So it a bank do it a hakili manka diamutel. Let us open our eye. Let us understand the only interest they have is their own pocket. We need to understand this one. The only interest they have is their own pocket. They don't care about the separation. Gambian Kolbitaka men. They don't care about Gambian Kolbe Bataman Baker. They don't care about that. All what they care is how are they going to keep stealing that money? That's all what they care. That is why when Gambian Kol Fintida, because someone lives like now what they have to do now to counter the Gambian people. Do you know there are a lot of factors why they want to do this counter protest? Factors already the international community knows that the Gambians are not angry, they are not happy with this government. Already the international community knows this there are corruption in this country because corruption, Galala Finto, the international media will be a second. Almost, a lot of international media will capture it. It has gone viral to the international court. There is corrupt allegations in the Gambia. And one thing is very important here. Galala protesting, one of the most important factors, one of the most important thing about Galala's protest, Galala protesting, we put it on key things. And we put it on things they are completed. It's like an investigation done by the state. It's not by Gala. But Masakunda for a kisiro melke. Masakunda for Fintiko ha, na kisiro melke tumrobejan. Gala is asking you, or Gala is telling you, either Masakunda, either President Barrow, either cabinet ministers, and then either National Assembly, are they finding show melke about the happenings, about the current issues? We want you people to act. Let them understand. Gala is not saying, okay, no. Gala is not doing things blind. Mantra call kega. We're doing everything is documented. It's things National Assembly abanta yabang complete. And what is the oversight function of the National Assembly? So now it's either one thing. President Barrow and his government doesn't want the institutions to operate like the way they need to operate. They don't want Gambian people to actually benefit from the institutions. All what they want is Gambian collateral dairy, Gambian collateral silencing. When President Barrow and his cabinet and his cabal and his mafias that is what they see as governance. And in fact, one of the things, let me just give you a brief example of some of these things happening. There was a Ghana Commission, and Ghana Commission was set up by the same government. It was set up by the same government. And then the same government now be the Secretary of Cabinet. May I long go Safir Lat, Ning Dibito, Ning Minister Sita, ye Fonfen Kacha, ila cabinet to, ila cabinet to ye Fonfen Kachaji, Menka Minisolte, Menka Kumakon Yunta. May I long go Kumakon Yunta. What happened? When the person came to the commission, what he was saying, when the person came to the government, crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, not call this, this is why. I don't have to go in your body. So come for your to go. Now, Masakunda Mayalo, come and cut another Baro Masakunda Tilim Malaya, Baro Masakunda incompetency. Baro Masakunda Katanalo Imandoku no, and Yodoku no. But in fact, Animalialongo will feel like we do no. We've all seen the way they are performing. Secretary of Cabinet, Cabinet Secretary, Minister la Saverla, President la Saverla, Masakunda la Saverla. Masakunda la file, one of the most important files, one of the most important things Melialongo, state has found Masakunda Korodun the world. Mbealo na fulo jelo on the Ghana Commission. Na fulo jelo on the Ghana Commission. Now, the Secretary of Cabinet is telling us Atanyama file soldier about Ghana Commission. But in fact, one of the most important files in Ghana Commission, the Ministerial Commission. So you see, Gambian call, I want you people to understand one thing here. The president was talking about the Ministerial Commission just recently. Because there was a Ministerial Commission. Because Ghana Commission will have found disposal. I mean, President will have them. But now, that Ministerial Commission, for the minutes of the Ministerial Commission, we couldn't even get those ones from the cabinet. Where they sit, they agree, because they are going to set up a Ministerial Commission. Those documents cannot be produced by the Secretary of Cabinet. By the Secretary of Cabinet. So I understand. No Secretary of Cabinet may along go cabinet la saverlago. Woko was several mantrabu. So this means what the president is telling us is not true. They have never sat on it. They only form a kaburu. They only form a mafia team. Kasi can iba discussion on the can bango for a while. Because one thing I know, if those meetings were happening, in the mafia their comments need to be part of the minutes. In a comment show, because minutes in a meeting is about what was discussed there. But why they don't want to provide those minutes to the Gambians, telling us those are confidential documents? How can those be confidential documents? So you see, probably I understand the kind of government membulu, Sunyar Masakula membulu, Tilimbal Masakula membulu, Masakula me doesn't care about the affairs of the Gambian citizens. Whenever they tell us Baro Silo Doku Jana, Baro Koron Sambajan, Baro Pak, hey, Albe Jumale feel the letter. Atolbe Jumale feel the Nora Banco Kanja. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the social welfare of the Gambian people. Nadiamu na bankola fankola. Nadiamu adama dula nyantola bankoka. Kama mule go ha ndolbeje ibe balan nimbaroma bar lungu kata ka benefit from Barrow's government. Look, me balan nimbaroma ka benefit from Barrow's government. Oh, on what? We are paying our tax to the government. Whatever is a momo doko. Yes, that's what we expect. Mambala, we all agree. But now, so let's ask ourselves. Let's ask ourselves. Because this is very important. This is very important. So let's ask ourselves. Because this is something. So this is very important. Because Masakunda may have a commission. Commission recommendation. You cannot go by those recommendations. And it's not a commission. You are the one who set up those commissions. So come on, go Baro Besila Dogo. Okay, fine. Baro Besila Dogo, let's ask ourselves. How much money are they spending on those roads? Now let's take an example of the Hakalan road. Hakalan Silo. Because maybe low you go. Janibe Silo award la moya. There are processes melkake. Janibe Silo Dogo di la moya. Janibe Silo Dogo di la moya. There are processes many along one have to follow. It's very simple. Why are they not following those processes? One thing you can make all of you have to do a survey. You can survey like a follow. Near survey can follow, you know. Silo in Kenya, silo in Medokulo Nyadi. You do what is called quantity survey also. You do land survey, you do leveling or whatever, silo Nyadi. You know all the material maybe that's in the follow. In our quantity survey, okay. In our check now the amount of materials, or amount of materials so the cost before even awarding the contract. The consultant have to do all those things. But now why President Barrow and his cabal are telling us the amount of money they budgeted for Hakala Road, yo double Sinyafula Yole Joe. Why? What kind of government do okay? Why should government do that? So this means they have not done the needs before awarding the contract. So that shows how the government is working with the mafias, how the government is working with the contractors to embezzle our money. Kana banko na fuluta kasunya. Kana banko na fuluta kasunya. This is very important. So niaje B, because one thing never jawla nyiko. Niaje B, Minister Ibrahim Silla be wurla. Niaje B, Demba Sabal be wurla. Ibe kamila wuri, ikame wuri wala minti ko because ila naful surdula Gambian ko wala be block la. It's not about the country. E manda dem kam banko la ko wala de. Ibe me wuri ka is because itola surdula Gambian ko yola sute ko nyulo ko sunyaro leke. So now they are fighting against that. That's all. That's all. Gambian people knowing this ko, this is the main reason. That is why now they are angry. Look at them. Ali cross them. Allah cross minister Jumale be pantika. Allah cross minister Jumale wurinka. Ali cross dolo. Ali cross dolo. Minister Jumale wurka. Ekamina wuri. Because what? If you look at our agricultural sector, National Bunda ya GBB, na fulo jele dunta nyim banko kanja. Before 2021 election, na fulo jele dunta banko kanja. How many projects came to this country about agriculture? The root project. And other projects mele alogo ilera pukana Seno Bunda ta kayurwan. Kana Seno Bunda ta kayurwan. Where are all those money? Wokodol bele. So they must feel like, and I'm not a life, that is what is happening. So they must will do whatever as a moment to make sure President Barrow remains in power. That is good. Likewise, my brother Ibrahim still. But they don't understand the score. For example, I'm completely disappointed with Ibrahim. Because one thing is this. Yes. I'm very disappointed with Ibrahim. Yes. Whatever, you can send a request. You can send a request. Whatever. Okay. You can accept it. Yes. Ibrahim Asila, you come in a wood. Because Ibrahim Asila was in the struggle. And I'm happy that I heard from him, Ibrahim Asila himself. I heard from Ibrahim Asila, he was 22 years in Senegal, in Dakar, about Bankola, because of his criticism about Jammeh's government. But now, what was the purpose of your fight? Why you were fighting? And this reminds me, the Jammeh supporters, they are now following NPP. One thing you guys need to understand, NPP is here to look at Banco don't fill in. Because one thing, if you said Jammeh was corrupt, now your government is corrupt. If you say Jammeh CFO letter I use on politics, your government is using CFO on politics. If you say this, your government is sending, Allah government will can alcalo take bon keserong. What is the difference now between Adam Barrow's government and Yahya Jammeh's government? So if not a genuine supporter of Yahya Jammeh, you were a genuine supporter of APRC, why should you support a government? That's government fight against the system. Now that government now, I mean, is doing worse than it had been and you still want to support that government. Then you never liked Jammeh before. So these are some of the problems and it's high time Gambian Kolia understand, because they will come with a lot of tricks. Because they want to remain in power. They want to remain in power. They don't want to be presidents. They only want to remain as ministers, because it will be position on the amount of money the amount of loan, the amount of grant to the Ministry of Agriculture, to the Ministry of Works. It will let unity. So it will be still a yamming to be ministers in those positions. I swear, any one of them sacked from that government, you will see them crying, there is corruption in the government. But because they are there today and they want to accept, yes, there is no corruption in Barrack government. But now, let's ask ourselves, okay, for example, you are telling us, okay, there are corruptions in local government. Do you accept that there are corruption in the central government? Okay, there are corruption in local government. Now, accept that there are corruptions in the central government. But they don't want to tell you that. If they will only tell you, you can protest. But for me, I form a local government soldier. But it can feeling. It can Nanyo le filindi, it can Balmuso le filindi, it can Cotonio le filindi, it can Fama le filindi, it can Mama le filindi, it can Doma le filindi, Banco Kanja. But they know what is going on. So, it's high time we open our eye. Look at the Secretary of Cabinet today. And as a Secretary of Cabinet,
Songo,
you cannot see the files. What's going on? You cannot see the files.
Bio.
Come on, what a disgrace. And they give you how many days? You tell us you haven't found any document about the Ghana Commission in the cabinet? What are you trying to conceal here? Conceal. I wish I was the commissioner, I was the care person at the National Assembly Commission. If I was a care person, it may sure not be. Because concealment of evidence is a crime. Concealment of evidence is a crime. And you are concealing evidence. It's a crime, it's a serious crime. Yeah, I mean, whenever are you coming? Whenever.
Because I'm pretty sure from my experience.
Whenever coming?
It was struggle can come. Obviously, it was struggle can come.
I know why I'm not hearing you clearly.
Very loud and clear.
Yeah, so good. But yeah, you can talk.
Okay, thank you very much. Cabinet la Carola. I think it is important. I also want to add one or two. About Ibrahim Stila Nyola Koto. Many are counter protest killer. It is very important to understand ko meatin Ibrahim Stila anabonyolu. Sembo be wara limba in counter protest for number one Ibrahim Stila ministry. Ni watin kono Adamo Barrow bara lafta cartel win 2026. Ihamo be wara limba kurang la Carola aning silo la Carola ilafaka sila jamalo. So sila jamalo nak kontrakol be siaring Gambia company be siaring Gambia menuko ka silo le doku. Wokono tapale a jamabe kering adu mol meta kanyim fole ne ale UDP ko la diam la may ka fole nale mol la may fana men ka masakunda la kol kacha baake ka fole e ka kumol men fo hani ala moy ni hakilo le fonkal nako corruption obe dame wala nyini ko e ka kontrakol dinya me abukata ni silo la wala ka tina ni sila dogu silo men nyanta wili keme e baaje to se wili keme fula dunje silo men nyanta wili keme saba se wili keme woro dunje after nalo akola e kana fo Gambia dingole ko ngani nangam la spendje. So Ibrahim Stila la Carola mo nyanda understand la je ko adabe lielo kono anala ku malo ni balafalde. I hope that ala molbe diamula la ana terol min yalongo wolle ya long janni ngabe kala biya be damendo because Ibrahim da molel kono me yalongo insafa kanata sayale ma ya jamel jamano anung Ibrahima nabe mol la moy kan anya tanyanta lon na la ko masakunda nyin kono nak nke be treat le fairly bara fa nga te treat le very very fairly hanana the criticism la Ibrahima ta fono la ko ate he has been a victim of unnecessary criticism ndal ni aja nga to fo drong isalon ku ketala mi wonde non ko Ibrahima sillanka jam falale just like hani demba sabal melan ka ko kumol fo kam melan ko wajabital minister o minister man ku ke kam mol buka tare to fo kam bar ni aja gamenol be to fo la drong isalo especially into opposition because some of us want to be reasonable malaf ka mol criticize all the time hard man think so Ibrahima Silla neje mol wa to fala ja wala nyin ka même bala ministry to malaf wala julo kuntu abe nafa men kono malaf wala julo kuntu kon sonko ba fo kanya minister ya fo hana to wada malla fo jannim faw waya wasale aman jere fa ke president de abe dama men so to kanje ate yalo natini ala tema so nyin contract mission men ka fale wala be Ibrahima Silla fe nyola wala ma fe nyin diam bambalo beti hada badi iko ka fo mba forom fa foro meke forodi ite fo man ko do fo nyande kala e nyanda wasu no la wala le ka fo ite mu forodi wala man ke forodi Ibrahima ante malu bata Ibrahima la ko la Ibrahima la ko is very very akam fa warta malef ka tuba ko dunne diamo ko no bak akam fa warta bak Ibrahima Silla me yalon ko yentol ya jambe ya dawndi fa borta Gambia Ibrahima Silla me yalon ka be opposition ko na la balo be ko na be human right mol wolle Ibrahima Silla tanka kan yo tanka ka asylum mol diala Gambia e bantala birit mo men Ibrahima Silla borta ya jamma ko bi o Ibrahima Silla la ka lo ka fo mole ko Gambia di ngol wurte ko corruption be kering mote Gambia bi même balanda ko corruption be kering han Adama Barrow fonction ko corruption be kering banku dingol findite ko ka wala ni ko ayta ni man sakunda la wala Ibrahima ka kata hada ni protest leta ka wala ka kaunda bayo ko bala fa warta bak yo ye minister fula nyaw men to fara men keda Demba Sabal fanan dabe o mol ko men yalon kala ministry de corruption bi janu corruption me yalon ka sembo so bak wo corruption me sembo so wala be ko Demba fanan nadulato agriculture ministry project mesengol siara je men yalon ko ikedi ika kickbackol so je so ni akorosi domoro be waralin fannal men na minister fulol men na bundaro domoro nen kasara lo be siari Gambia dingol kanji itol be domoro la Gambia dingol be kasara la wollel dabe waralin idal be siari ka foko men ko Adam Barrow tuje Demba ko hana jareta yelo ka yelo bon aba yelo bonnal baro be meytande wolen Gambia no lañi alamuta baliyati bari narnu ko Demba alamuta non Demba ning Adam Barrow manyana tara ko kilin Demba be non dula dolto anda be nun damento Demba be damento walantina ngalon kon to landin topic is a very mature one has nothing to do with music wala tribalism bar ko men nin ko be kerin ka analogy ta amanjawya narun ko Demba mu foroti Demba manke modo melan ka ba konkilin na fala nyini kan tombi biabe tara mama kandela patio bari te patio me yalon ko idabe nun je ateni Seku Mbalo be ite patio mello me yalon ko first time alna presidential election ola ala 17% aliasoto badi was a remarkable achievement bari ye mama fili wo be kono ya bulo bata be kono anu achievement on was success mu me be itara ka Adama Barrow pour mun kama itol kunkilin nafa so ñi Gambianol ñanda hakkilo ñi kunkilin nafa to mol katara ñi mento wato wadi wulatina Demba man deno Demba be diamula na wulta Demba la diamulu be aka kumal fo me yalon ko silandir kumolom aka kumal fo me yalon ka mol barandi Ibrahima Silla meta dering fo biringa ta fana be damento alon ko ñi corruption men kama atata tula anala department ikay men fote nabe kala ni system overhaul la pour corruption o stop Ibrahima Silla department contract ko kadi nyama be jibelal ñine Ibrahima dew ñine Ibrahima Silla ñina Ibrahima diam ka so ba on se bula ngatenten ñola ngata cabinet because mbana nga cabinet la be testimony linge jibele it is very scary. I have one or two things left on my salary but come is a dialogue nge bule fana diam do bandi if on idea mo say if come way
yeah wonderful no actually game moil not including game moil yeah kumol le fo mel yalon ko they're very important anum ela diamo kono like the minister maybe diamo kan ye bela lonkan fole ye bela doku bunda nyimfo and this is very important pour ka odula bambandi bake Demba Sabali atala minister de meya lonko atala marsa national bundala but science en fongo nyininka enseigno nyininka bi national bundala na fulo jellebe dunkanje project jellebe dunkanje mina tinna bi jam senalalu mantara ki fongo kono mina tinna bi senalalu mantara ka dahaw kono ba mina tinna bi natiyo me ya lonko senalalu doko fombe bi men kono modol mela tiyo ko do so do kaba masakunda bulo ko science nyoni lanka fo minister be do ko ke kan na bang fo amanta do ko ke kan bar ite mem musana lati ite sai ite fo so kewo jabir lati sai fo to nya minister de tala siring minister pala soto le bang mba jola ko do la be mo luwa sala because new minister men be yajele da masabali nyol be all of them ibe livre in dual meldo ala lonko masakunda ke jol even la sol kono masakunda pay masakunda ka wo dual fonta ke jo they have a budget me ya lonko ila sabatu dulani ka jo masakunda e motole dila me ya lonko ila dinno me ya lonko wala kata karam molto wo dinno nyulu moto men ke sama karam moto men ke sama soko so masakunda e ka kujra bala ke nyula bara manda wala de nyulu kanna banko na fulo sikale kabuli la jufol kono inabe pantim so ñu ministre fulolu Ibrahima Silla wala ministre me ya lonko wala matra kanna sila dokolu anim masakunda la dokol tal basay aninna airport aninna poro ab Ibrahima Silla la mbe ya jele Ibrahima Silla la jamano la kol mil be kekan na poro la karola aninna tanin na la bunda la karola now nsanyo ñin ka ñinda the Senegambia bridge me ya lonko wala mu am hilta na bambata na bridge me ya lonko Ibrahima Silla la Nyaton Kayako as a Minister of Works and Transport Works and Works and Transport and Works. Minister me alongo wala marsa na tanin na la bundala anin na bankola do kola o Minister B wala Gambia la birjota aya tela ya tela men ko million keme ya tela wal but say ni atara mome ya lonko hakilo bala mome ya lonko alhafta bankola million keme me ya lonko ya tela mo sanji mo anilu say Gambia banko ni atara birjo ben tolle bulu ni atara tolle ba man kan akoyta lako na fulo le kana na fulo me ya lonko ze fenso no je sanji mo nin lulu kom nyato ze fenso no je me ya lonko asitano fo million keme lulu aninyo but minati no masakunda e kodi obela because menke da wala nyinto ko ibe korontorinde ilafta ka kolle ka Gambian ko nyabiti pour se ko so no juno nyame se nyapi no development no ka nyame but let's ask some fo nyin ka nyinda ibe nyapile no development no ka nyaadile ka development nyaadile ka sai atol mbadi Gambian ko sa lefta tron sai ali lamani hakilola atol mel be sabatin dinkiral do mina dinkiral be yalla ko beto fola za nyonyin ka for example sukura la osilo me yalla ko ba ta karala kunda osilo mfanyi masakunda la madoku bara silo nya tinyata afele ko danke ni masakunda kana mur ko danke ko osilo nya doku bara manda o fana silo mel yalla ko ye doku amang even sanji kilo fon ko bi osilo la kan ndara jembe jol tara lori osilo la kan mina ko sabu because of corruption tapalayani na karantuya e ka menka wala nyuntuko e tere malu e ka funyo malu mel ya lonko wolu even they don't know nothing about road construction e man fellong e man faamur soto e mallon soto sula doku koto but because e tere mal la wolde because wolu mole me alan ko wala ko do dilan ko mala e ka menka wala nyuntuko contracto di wala let's ask ourselves about Hadim Gay now Hadim Gay Jimbo Wafila, for example, Jimbo Wafila Marimundo, Banjul Marshal, but Jimbo Wafila turned to be a big contractor. I don't call Milke, Tinyarnya di Leke, Nafruja Ledi. So, Ikajo is a kind of Kabalu. Kabudulum is a mafia system. System will mayalong, Electala Sabati, Electricana Bancona Flutina, Electricana Tongotina, Electricana Bancona, Electricana Bancola Fanco Funotina. Let's come to the pause. Na poro fele under the leadership of Minister Ibrahima Silla, ye poro front adhere to a private sector. Let's ask ourselves. I mean, to give things to the private sector, I'm not saying I'm in disagreement with Mapako come mantra sondim. Puro masakunda e ton do ta ke the private sector if they see ko that will be kind of efficiency. But say, so nyonyi nkawo. Wolibo do ko ke ka nyame for example. Iko ibe kodo men loku kan nanyim poro nyinto imna kodo tala kodo ye poro lo ye na poro fanta ya manage kodenke from our own money it will poro lo me along to let me know poro tala kodo ya manage for how many years so this shows the amount of corruption the amount of kilimbalia the amount of naful kasaro membe caring I mean na Ministry of Works na Ministry of Agriculture wala tina o Minister fulo tedela wala no Minister fulo adate ele yelo e bonyi banko kanjang pour adama baro sabati jang ito betule nyame lo ministry to kanna banko ta na kanna banko na fulo ta kakasara whatever.
Yes, thank you very much. But come here for nyamendro ni minister ibole nyama when it comes to corruption many along with the ministry ya feel ko comme Ibrahima Silla men fo karo fo kande Ibrahima la karo la tiñaro men din kasaro men kala je covering airport yalo airport fana renovation project ko so me yalon ko jama dun daje mulma nafaje security port be contrat ko lu so Ibrahima ñol dal ko men be kumoto comme la diam la don ne men fodron mbida ñokudo ibe be kudo na le zaba maildu so ñul be silari wala tina donc opposition wala fana bayo just jani ngara state house la cabinet secretary ñi na testimony do opposition on ñanta lon na bayo ñi election o men kana ñaar ko opposition be la difficulty check la ka jibe election di mala kolera is going to be one of the most difficult because ñi electoral madam mate ñola ninko elite including I'm limiting this one to menu based system of kono adun kanana will explain them sako menu based state house nyolto and other ministries mena ko they are complicit in crimes yalon ko baroda mala be kuburu lano nyim por dia progi ko me ya bayo ya foten concession fenko ye poro ci ka kere ka di toki sola ñu be mo molel di me yalon ko ibe parera la bi ka million bondi kadi barola pour campaign tili asijare yala because ye kodo men iba sotola nyin porodo kodi jama balem so gameno nyanta wolon nalako andum baro fanan ay campaign fon impact italia start le bring ñu online jannam bag ye do man ngol start le bela jalol war kan ndol bi janne fanal ka diamol ka ala yake mira janne do mandi nga kilim fulan ka wol suutele abe online manke ba kelale ba kanne yele jalol weren janne nin janne mo online mi ya start le bar so ko fanan ya start le de ni baroja abe fintol men ne kaje sa kaje baroja ka finti dulaldo damente ale ka kafu baja no mo house to house le ba yalla tele wala mo be so barobe campaign kanne science and actively so walati nanak oppositional Gambia mam trapati fo kan oppositional in general be kokula pare juno ni e wotu ko me man ni na mo sori mawalti ison tay man son ni man sori mon ke dron abe mo ne la because nin ko di ba tiol be kelola adu ni sembe ma baller fanan be kelola so ba nga tambi ñato gata state house ngajele anu NPP ko si la may back adama baro amam ma ko ila soto me yalon ko genuine dale ni ma ko ila soto no men keda state house men testimony to bi nga men jen tawjela because bara adam baro fon ko bring gala findite protesta kabe national assembly abe wol task la pour ye koñi ya kisi adafana fa be commission modol lol la me yalon ko be commission kala pour ka ñing jamme asset sol jibe bari inata o bayle inata fo say nga be ke national assembly bari lafta ben fula ja wala ñini ko lafta men highlight la rada pour mol ya fam ja president at least ala foku mo nga lonko akonato bala pour ka ñing ko kisi so nin nato bala ka kisi ni tabe NPP wala tabe masakunda kono ita ñanda president ma ko la bari ta mañana president la ko afon la fa ko men kisi leta mañana o batandila imanyana batandila wala so pour comme NPP school ben ya lonko ibe blind support na dolbi je buka understand mana ne to fo support ne ba kan dron manke banko jawti de ngam menu dol je nal ke la moy nal ba understand la for example president fon la office o kono moli ye file ye mandi je la file me ya lonko file series number ñin yaay tan le ko nim 40 sota for example ni ko file number 140 41 bukaje ni ko 143 44 bukaje adu ñulu be safetale ibe webu ko kono ko inata jele wol mun document walent wala no ya jamela asetolti ndel ngalon ko santen evidence kilim man finte adu evidence jamala finte de kilim man finte me yayi tan ko adam baro fon le fengon sa wala fon le abulo ma ndol man tra kala kam mola de bar sa nar dun ko baro fon ko kis ngamela to lamol membe masakunda do gola wol fona nyanta en jelal no ko president fon ko ngayen kis nga kaytol be bonde nge di bar president fon lo officer do cabinet secretary yayi tan ko kayto dol misinda jela o muta maser kilindi kaytandi ko corruption o men kafo to nyalam abe kerenne narno ada kerin dafola fulanya wole kita kanyila testimony bari ndol bota da men buka fo ke bay ko yemen fo to nyaade bar kanye malundiro ka bike baket nak ay malundiro ke because ay malundiro ke dalilo menna nsa fo ale ko kanyina ko kanye letter ole safe biriya somon prena jane ko committee member jane commission investigate ka national assembly bring ye letter o ke ka samon ka fay ko isina ye danku andum kayti bebulu wala la department o men keta Gambia GTSCT men keta Gambia National Transport Service ti men me yalon ko tul kamara bosol la bake ani modol men ga jama samba dulal do tanin na isa fo public transport so atena ata safero ke national assembly la ñu committee men la kitio be keren dañ mol ike bonni tele do anin social media ako e ko ndela ñin department odo ndela jang mbuluma ma jane commission la fenna mais la fenje maje mamoy mamala adu mammo fonje mem matala anu ni man kudu nyotema ay ñina fo commission odo kañi même ki la general manager sila birata ta commission odo janni ka futa commission odo yesi tele do ini mole diamu men ka ke wala ñindi ko ikesi samba investigator le ya bira futa investigator ya ñinin ka alafta balan na bari kudo be je nanga wo faale do mandi wala ñindi ko email o dole be je ni investigation o momo yalon ko kullo be bulu ko sa kije adu ñim lato gambe dingol me yalon ko kullo be bulu jinjane commission la ko do man la fi moye to long ye kullo jamal le kije so fembe ma barin duma be findidal bring atata kanyi ñi men kera general manager di afutata ñim dulato ye kayto doli tan dala anata bara a murta wala nyama within 24 hours atate ñun kayto dolla nan ke murni nan back ke samanan ke di commission wonyna anu ngala testimony to bi bara atra a statement of a letter of sefele anana na statement of anadi among song wala bake bar birani investigator benda drong ko be tinyata bulu woldo so inara tara ko amanke ko drong ko a fellon jela afongo mata fenna jela bara mata fenna je nyaadi ko tamata to yala la bota men kalama fa fongo do ta la diamu do ako nde fongo le ñin supervise in fact aka fongo bota be kalamale kayto do la transaction o kodo me yalon ka batani moto do tema me yalon ko mala department ñin to senior official lady and also a technician ala chief mechanic so why itendi ko menu be masakunda do ko le man rap ma ko kan membe masakunda do ko la wolle ko be timbala ambe system o kono wol be kering so bi ko men keta commission ro kawa kuba momo e commission folo wala yalo membe kerenje bari mo fula be nata be ka fuko kayto maje ken ngo membo dana state house yata so tiltan sabani lulela pra kayto dol ñini bari anata ki jafaro so biri kayto mo men nako ngalon ko ibe balan ñin kaytol men ki dinna lafta yalon ko idol bi je fangol wol ben tol bulle lafta da ye nat sa fa yalon nako abe damen ilafta da to nyafo wala ya nambara barna ba nyama bibi lala kanyi manyan ne lala fansawo gambia lan drom masal ha banko bari ite letaro sa fe ka ki masa kundala kisikisir lambungu me yalon ka be lorin banko la constitutional kan ite safero kewto ko le ko jana commission maje mamoy ala maje annabi mamoy ni man kudu nyote masa ko ni se ku ke nyokam ni la nde mume mana lemba na department mumo la ndebe ñin department o men ñaato ñu masa kunda bu na men ñaati le wala tay même ni ñaata nga yakan ndel ni man kudu ñotema yena ko kisi ya tara ko ite famo be ko be temal ine kudu ñotema ine fendu ñotema wo ka ko yada ba andu ñin jama ba alsi yi lawle manak ñin jama ba mo se yi law sifa lelma ñin jama ba fanande me yalon ko wala be ñin mol bulu ngalon say bari ka commission jibele balon na ko anonymous emailol wala emailol me yalon ko mol yeki mari ñol mala moye tolo ye kile ñin commission do andu wol yetol jama bi ay dundile albe mo jamal jele membe malula de kanita malef kandalo akam bake bare mo hada foro nasita ko maben ngamem fo ngakuma fulol mo fay man nyota ke bay si ayo fo national television to yala manyana futa lawto de adum nakita ko kile na manyana national fulala fo saba fo nani fo lulu adu nyine be kala jama fanana bari jama bi je wol meji la ko kaytol kan kullo kon imaje bi ina nyin tere ni nyamen anara ke maluku bati dimbatio ani mo me alon ko be department mo ete bo le nyat non so ba on se fana mbula yediam so lafta mo le nyine understand nyine be keren commission o nyindo sai sante anu ni mol me keku tumando wato ko kata nyamende amalo si warano dol bulle
yeah so wonde ba I mean yela diamo start na ani damentala yedlu ala ma damentala ko mata bakel wala mu ni lu tawol mina kan nyim banko kan e kana fulo men jo na airport auto lundongol kaw na fulo men jo airport to ka fay ko $20 dollar muang ka wala jo ni ka bonan tuwabudu ka bonan dunya daw dara ni be jikan na airport to ka jole ni ka finti fana ka fana jole sa ngamben ko leftan na kacha leftan no la fa haklo la jam wo kodoji akata mun tole wo kodoji is not even well accountable wo kodol nyong anyon kododo President Barola Masakunda, ibe tulunka wala NPP Masakunda, abe comment like NPP as a government, NPP as a political party is now charging every Gambian. e wol nafulo e ka nafulo no soto je bokata silora e bokata dum na masa kunda ran kesho ko na nyam anu lefta kam fo mo leje par an sa en belef la menna alta le nyinen karoke go on ask mol mel ya lon ko be do ko bla kabrin je kumasta ni be do ko di la mole ke contact 3 months kar saba e ka do ko di lo na kar saba mo e ko mo te je me ya lon ka ba kumasta bi na man kitol mafia damal itol mel ya lon ko wolle aside ka gamien ko ta ke tora ka gamien ko ta kanya pikan ka kalunton ta kanya pikan ka na fulon te bulu ni memma lan nañu ko mola fana comme kam fo wala ñu ko ndol la kacha nka based on evidence nka based on ku koyo lela mbakana si jam nkolo ko kumo ndol ko tama wala ngam mem fale wala ñu ko mol mel ka tanin naake allah nal kono sangola nal nada ale men taraje ale ko do meya serum ñina nal nada alte wo tar laje because men ka wala ñu ko e ka mol mel ta do ko le ke ta kar saba mine o sabu wala minti ko e mallafi moli la system o long e mallaf moli ya long e be banko na haflo dum kan silo men kam. That's what they don't want people to know, and it's very important Gambian ko probably understand minati no bebe kala because na haflo ila e ka wala sunya e ka na haflo e ko kala no tema ko do men kan. Let's ask ourselves, for example, New Atara, for example, or airport or let's say flight maybe flight lula kajije flight, let's say they come with a minimum of 200 people in all kana mo kema flight no kana so sapo ko tilo la mo wuli kilin kajina airport to o mo wuli kilu me yalo ko wala kajina airport to o mo wuli kilu abega 20 euro jo ni apal ngambe ko sapo ko dala si wuli kilin but sai asiaro fond sa kana dala si wuli kilin kemenani dala si wuli kilin kemenani ni apal dala sora ikamen joje sa so wo kodoni abukota na bankola ranke so kono lefta Gambian ko you understand wo kodo NPP ko ka woleta e ka bele biro lu ka wolala e be political ki ka wolala. So it's like tolla kodo bankola kodo na bankola fankola tinya na banko one of the most na banko dula me alongo dula kuma ba me alongo wolem tourism sector na tubabulu tanin na la bunda karola ya tinya ya kasara ayatina bi luntango men kana nyim banko kan ko tubabo mo lef tapale ya tubabo mo lef moment ka tapale ya kabul tubabo yele investigation ko yele find ya gele ko what is happening in Gambia membe kere in Gambia banko kan kule me alon ko corruption wala and tubabo ko corruption o semento ya so tubabo lo $20 or lo 20 euro damma akagele ko na ya jo it's like abe corruption wala fasa kan abe klimbala la fasa kan and Gambian call kila hako apply. It doesn't mean ko tubabo doesn't like here, but because I get ko nana ta buy la fire jo. So the only thing as a maintain for member tin la no tubabo ni atinala jangata da du no fem ko me yalo corruption wala bo me yalo wala corruption of fasa wala ñu ko abe Gambia bulale akata bank bu lo asola wayatina ye tubabo lo jaka jare fo yi Senegal e Senegal la airport do where ni ajibe na airport be boykan. So imagine, let's ask ourselves, the tourism sector be boykan, the tourism sector be jikan because of ni klimbalia ni tajiran there me ya longo wole be kiri na airport. Say in airport be jikan, you are now telling us you want to invest on our airport also. When you alone ko mine be na airport tinyaka mine na airport kasara mine atin na tourism sector fala tinyata. Why? Gambia is one of the best tourist, one of the best tourist destination throughout Africa. But Milatina B, Gambia Banco Canyon, to our Lunton Bucana Bat, Milatina B, Molmeal with Canada and Gambino do la Hajare from the Senegal Banco, because Nagata, or Tilimbalan, or Tapalayan, or Nakarantuya, may I long will be airport. So Gambian call side. Now informed. Gambian code. I don't come follow Mintiko. I repeat it again. Memora come code. Wole Mintiko. Nka memfo amanga comment do left for commodity. Nka memfo abe sapere. Nka memfo tonalem and banku ni right lesodo. Purun kantolo for kumota ka kisisi fotonya ba kokon fotonya mantra kokon. This is one of the things I have to say. Many friends on the melon ka follow. Let's go into let's say Kanyala testimony. It's not going to be only Kanye. It's going to be many of those kind of cases, Melminala. Because remember, you will need to go, ya sitting, ya tabile, Iman left men now will need to go. Masakunda Karo, Klimbala, Beji, Iman left I print. Walatina, new investigation or allegation, Kule Mea Longo, America follow. ko jana commission manta ku ko manta ku e ma wa firo ke ku e yusu na kar na keje but mina tinna masa kunda man simfata ko kono because masa kunda ya lo de fon le kuriya le menta manda ko kono so wala kabin gambe ko wulta gambe ko le parliament ninka gambe ko le député mo ninka gambe ko there must be action about this issue wala tinna député wolu e natana naka special commissions of inquiry ta kalondi wo député wolu kisi sir kapo me yalo ko yalo bi kuma kawol mel be fokanje bi tilimbale akumol milana ko be moy kanyi masa kundani modo le menke niya manke galati nin galala movement tenu nin fondin kol ma fintini ye wuri nin gam fondin kol ma wokili ye live di ye sorong ye tilimbale ye konkondi ni wata gambia fondin kol moge danum bi kanyi billion mem moy kanyi million mem moy danum bi de fem moy la ko kono bar sa ya pele ko man ta folo to nyabe koy kan masa kunda be balankan amin seda jarol fe kaje ko iti sonna ke fintindi woni fa nyimu ni ku ya balti na gambia banko la kodo and I believe gambian kol be ko je kan and I believe gambian kol ide lala no kan pour kaje ko na unity shot regarding the opposition yalo let me tell you something if you believe that the system is corrupt the system is bad why should you join the system? Well, now this takes me to the couple of political parties, the couple of aspiring candidates. If you have need a mirror shot, it need it like a president Momo Yalonko, Ita Poya declare president. This will remember President Yala and President Yam, and President Yam content. That is why you want to killing him. Kajoko Afanable President Yala. It is Yem Yelikan donation Yabi because Yala corruption of the killing, Tilimala killing. I mean, there is bad governance level killing. Wala ka modundi kafu ko mfana mbatu for the political party. So to our surprise, say it can make a wala yindi go kalef ka Gambian ko filindi. Ibe gelele because bi na gele nyobar na naji ko bi nyobar na fa ka political party ko committee. I am not disrespecting any of these sectors. A committee for the party union. I am not disrespecting them. They have feel they are very important in our society. Nobody will moment na ke doya. So we'll be part of the COVID dagla ko yun kono. Mina atine la ke daki ko yun kono because masakunda mbelori masakunda le meya lonko imalla fala masakunda le meya lonko ya jelo ko kilimbale masakunda le tapale ya masakunda le wala atine be la ke daki ku kono meya lonko wala ka adama waro masakunda ta ka bondi kam masakunda samna mealo go Gambian kol be fon jela wala kon but to our dismay na surprise ka men wala ñindi ko ñu be ka ñin diamo ke be ka wuri mol ke suute mol ka wurima mol ka bule noma at the end of it wala kana ka ko do ka fula masakunda me al go kunu I huma ya kalam do ko ñu masakunda tilim baloti ñu musuñar masakunda ti ñu masakunda man na balu bunda ma buña amon ko bu kun kilo ina ta ya be jonno kam yena yemol ke jorawti ya kafuma yita yefan sementu yandi adi ko ni te sementu yata yene ya kaso I think Gambia people need to be very wise nyanda ka wise le nyanda ka naile na system o kele system o yalla ko bi wala ben da banko snega pass it over to you wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much. E kanyum problem o men fa nga video do save na dula na fenko ko na dondi na Facebook to ja nyanda ka a process pour ka post maybe sometime I don't know maybe mbela mo na conversation si fa caring. It was one of the socialites in Nigeria, very dark black man, in fact right now the most popular Nigerian out there. He was talking about ila political la Carola because abugake bank, but he was talking about it. He was precisely talking about nyimol me yalongo kanyim patiri ngollo pour danko drong pour yena yesembe disoro drong ida ye kafu mansama ifana leta ye domoroke. And this is a problem. Nyimanke Nigeria da mal problem mode. Gambia fana is the same. Idara Senegal the same. Opposition me yalon ko degantan jaite mu opposition di. Ite fo corruption je banku kay ko nyine me nyafa ibe political party lole ko ilafta pour ye change. Ite eta fo ka join mansakan is a contradiction in itself. Because natar nun ko ite ba ke kan banko le mantra ke ngoy ngoy. Ite manyana party lola ite kafu mansama. So I don't mean to be condescending or rude to any other or indifferent, I should say, to any other political party. But in party kutol, it is going to be very difficult to more respect. Because niatar nunko ite mu multi meyalanko you can add value. Party bejana meyalanko already you can join them and ye cook. But in party low attention siko. we need to have Gambia la political system okono freedom molande mota afla moy kanage bar opposition party al fanalu inyanta fero kelal kaje ko nyilu fanal nye sofaket inyanta system o billa me alonko ka make so ko nyul ni nada ikana they don't become relevant because hani ajibe nyil kamol batandile when it comes to coalition talks historically Africa dawoda dunia dawoda nyimpati kutapati ndingol menu kana nata coalition talks like opposition batandile ke batandi bete kele ite man tambi 5% le man tambi 10% la iko e flag bearer dila ite ko ite ni meyalon ko let's say umari bare minimum aka 20-25% bonile ite ko ite ni wolbe nyo sabala flag bearer yala o mantiling ika nyine ke ka kol direl africa nyim problème o manke donc africa han west africa da mati de ninke wa do be diam ka example do side kanye wotara for east africa the same thing pati ndingo ka findi ka fo ite pati ba ikala fi nin government nyimbe lola idete lead o your highway or the highway your way or the highway gameno lankana so nyinna so with regards to party ningo I don't mean to be indifferent to them but imu distractionality because Gambia be nyame isonta iman song everybody have their right to form their own party de but Gambia be nyame isonta iman song is almost a two party system they join UDP oita NPP nyum fulolam bari ite tarnola yamarnde ebe mola la wale toli bari duta yamarin ko wodati jande so lafta ka for with regards to the parties but oppositional from bio I have to emphasize oppositional ni ko be delay bala barola kola to kibe kodo dila nyullale this is not a conspiracy nyin dilo membe nyin concession dilo tata nyamen amanta nyama yalo mo nde wala nan ka fuko wa politico ni ka follow ka politician ol bela mo ka kibarol bela mo wallahi man need source la ka fo karle en call mo le en call state house ka fu nyete mo le en call jena ka fu nyete 1+1 is always going to be 2 just listen rock your observation okay toki la nyin dilo men tata duganda ba fala toki nyin toki dilo me yalon ko wala keta teng airport odo aton ni Gambia porodo amanda ni silo la de UDP of ko raise janne newspaper doli a flag janne diligence manka nyama in fact contract ko sign ring ko la 3 months after signing the contract what mo lamu inata delegation of bondi including Joe Bate the head of the Gambia Ports Authority and other stakeholders from the government wolle nata kata toki iko kata due diligence la bayo mira wo nyamati ya ala ko boninya ye contract ko sign ye molla na fulo tika yadi molla sanji jama ye lahiri ko be sanyam fanan dile la pour ya lo wo ko la le te kana tay ko kata due diligence ke in toki kawol jibe wol ko operate nyaadile kawol jibe wol butaram bulo munedi kawol jibe wala track record mo munedi iko nyim faw manke nyamati yade
so whatever so you see that point is very important yage because all their lobbies they came here
wala benyi NPP election o ba sponsor la 110% do ba sponsor wala nan deba foka opposition ko ma fa UDP de am not bari be kacal la jam mo bele bela mo party ni mam pare juna baro ben singol kolo basilan ko because abala ni house to house men that thing wo kola kodo men be bulu bayo nga fendo lon tawol fala no jan these people have started paying people many alongo well they are already on the payroll for janin carte bo file adu naba nyamal traditionally wol dol ka ke nyame nin carte fayo kana sile wol ka ke but as of now molbe I have prima facie ninko prima facie I mean like instead me yalon ko se kurano takino wala ko they are onto it adun komen adam baro tarambulo menti kabira tuma baro fo priya connect no direct crime wala especially corruption aka koleala because aka komen ñi modern warfare membe kere globally ten ñi banku dol mela malaf ke tol fo aka proxy la use so baro fo naka proxy business men la use molel bebulu men ya lonko wol ye business opportunity la di wala briye business opportunity di wala kana ikela kodo tay ka wakili ka di ye on contract di mol mena contract me ala ni silo manta wolta sonna masa kunda boy bari ni masa kunda boy tani system overhaulta wolbe fole la contract do bella chaw nyin toki contract ko bola ko bi UDP need just one expert ni esini dre baji la ko ni ngo toki la dilo ni ajibe dron ibaji la ka amanta ni silo la ila porto programme ni amanta ni silo la I telephone li yalo nako UDP hani politiko si kole ambulu nyaonya UDP ta microphone mo tan la ka foko askeno mbabu no that one you have to rescind it you have to look at the contract again because anin silo manta bira be keka ngafole ngani silo manta keba balu wuli jaye contrat ko sign wo kole kontro kara due diligence la ke toki contrat ko sign min kola ka kodo ci ka kadina mo la ke sama ke landi hotel ni maldo yena talol tay very good PR team wala bebul neje ko Watson Gambia sa ni woli ma dalilo lo bala hani birin fenke Joe Batala interview nale ya jibe ya interview ni ya record ya post damento ifon kale ko this is a very criminal company ye very strong PR system la soto ninyi la kata carte fayola in 2026 ni operational ni man pare a nyama ni man pare afana watola aben danal abekela mbulu la ko la
so you see Kabrita at Toki, you can see the international media. They brought up the international media because anyway, you understand mafia ka tama nyame, mafia ka tama tenne, mafia la burundi roka tenne. So ye menka wala nyundi ko ye bulo sidi jan, kabi ye bulo sidi jan, ye singul sidi ye bula play no kono, kabi ye sam ibula play no ko ye samba Toki ye la media la command ko yena da this is I mean the mafia warfare me alon ko be caring in the media in our media to. So Gambian Kolu, for you understand, they must really understand the kind of government we are fighting with. And we can important. There is one thing I want to tell Gambian people. Last election, Yalonoko Baron Alamulu, Yenapul Jamasho Bunda Dola, Bunda Me Alonko. I mean, there was an airline. Me Alonko, that airline only. Ibenu Opreka, that was airline only about Africa. I think it's African airline. So Sudanese show dolem wale are registered through Gambia. So saying, but warning Al Basir they have an issue. So when they have an issue, so flash will be signed. So the guy want to sell the flights. So at the ammonia kita. Wale kada visino de me along Al Mali Neman in Kaprakai. Apply penke, apply Gambe. Wala kada reason di abla Jambe ya bondi fenkayala ya bondi DG yala because abla ko pour abla Jambe ya sign pour c'est pour mano nyim access no nyame pour ka plain so nyum ta ke wa so itata code kabila code e inyo sono ke code ko pour ikana plain no nyul wa code inyo sono ke say milake baro government Yem Fansu Bojam Bondina, we are Fansu Bojam was once in that place. Yem Fansu Bondina Mundo, ya Bondina Dubai, Utumum Fansu Belamu, the Gambian ambassador, Gambian ambassador in Dubai. Yem Fansu Bondina Dubai, Yem Fansu Samana, Yem Fansu Burundi back there, Fansu ya sign to allow that person to pick up plane on Yundaki wife. Alialo na fulo jele, you know, Yala Baroma Sakunda need to understand. We know a lot na Fenjama Bale long. Even na banko na channel di mol mela e be channel mela ko ye di mol mel ele fakata amul warna amad ba na be wurka amad ba be wuro mela but amad ba episode is coming one day ba we are going to have a special episode about amad ba and I want baro masakula ya understand ila minisal be moment keka we know it aman ko malo we know it and we will come out to expose it to the public and look I am telling you if they think that people are going to get fair, for them to promote the not to protest against them. They are just joking. One thing we always tell them, but na melon no lonely and nothing can stop us. One of our brother Blamin Conrad also is on the line. Is well informed about issues. I mean, he actually give us a brief of what actually 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒆𝒔 discussed.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Alexander.
Yo, baso nge kontong. Wandi fa nge fana kontong.
baraka
No, rodung baso ko wandi fa lo mun karam moti. Ate mu nyapetol, ate ne bamba mas.
yaran gol mala de
God, it will nyapetol. Alhamdulillah. But you know, Gambia ko is very sad. Very, 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 very sad. Nan hakilo ba containing nuwa na program to breaking it down. Ding every audit jibe eka quality expose the weak internal controls, the missing receipt, the missing funds, and the lack of oversight. You name it. More fund institutional run nyaming in this 21st century is indicting on the government. Nga try to break it down from Bajo Manuel Yibea Fahamu. What are at stake here? And Nimbe Kola, Minkana Kola Yindeko, there is the culture of impunity becomes, in fact, it continues extensive and pervasive. Wale ya balafawara, kubaka keno je, tumomena, momi yanongole yantakila the safeguarding, the chief safeguarder, or safeguarding personnel, mimbe yunko be tamane kaje ko atane silola, olum de commander in chief. No fan kana cause will fend the mol nyakoto. Kaje ko it's not to me. To him, it's nothing. It's like Gambian on Benin Wuro Mimbe like, look, this is nothing. All these millions, to a point that million of not let's look at ngabe nganyim be compare ngabe kafunyuma ngajibe within few months or all that, just few major indicting audit findings ngol kafunyuma. When ngol jibe, we were talking about billions of money squandered. Adun jama auditor coming for wala nya committee wala nya ko hana tala ko ni capital ventures milan ko masakunda ke duay ko kono enin sartol bukata enin procurement na dual bukata ko mi wande fa ba fo kan jame. Due diligence is key in every government undertaking, especially where public funds are being spent. To make sure there is the right dividends comes back to the people. Kajako, we have the worth of our money spent in every endeavor. Because amanki la kodeti, ntela kodo mo itela kodo do fana kodo. Oto wonyanta dunda dawdanding, mansa kundanya ndaka sobea. Kakilia kajako banko mola na flobe dunka nyunko kono, wodunda kuko kono, wenta nala mol kanne, nyala miya nanko be. Ajibe han nyinsilo fana jibe, oditol ya fole. Nyinsilo mil be kada data nyin road work sol mil be, jama emil beke. Masakunda auditor coming following the quality of those roads. Ani kodo min dunta je. It's not it doesn't have the value of the money. So nyimbe mo monet wala nyinde ani the monitoring, evaluation, ani kaje ko ku min be nyande kala nanyin sila do ko kono. Itana silo. So no mbaka auditor yafo. No wonder why you see people, some of these ministers shouting, at the mere, a threat of like being held accountable. There's a lot of too many lootings here. Jana Commission on Learning is one thing, but it has given people, it becomes a reminder of the very many incidences where Bankola Nafulu and Bankola sort of found Kasaraka. And in the hands of few people. And a few people is we are nearly experiencing state capture. It's because jama mansakunda ni milibe duokola wala nibe milibe nyokono ni businessman olu milan ko ngaje government contract ko ika dila to wolle fana bem naka min cross ka dum mansakunda wala NPP la political kono ke sembentuya mari ngono ku jama dundu nyokono jande bari min long mimbe outside ngol mbole fokanteng. There are so many things it's gonna come. Will be funti la te maila because nkanye mfola na dia mol kono watu beto ko dunia is too small. Dunia is one village, especially now this globalized world. Kuta no kunna. Mana fomol kay la moy jande ba nga fom fon defana nko ali la moyna. Nko kuta no kunna. In dunia lansaro min kono bi fo dunia fitiro lamba fo sa fo lamba. Kuta no kunna hani temere ko be suta balo ko de bela kol kekan you are behind closed doors. Albe kuku kekan billahi wallahi abibe faram fansila because kulle fana be caring ete bate banda so many tools are now available to people dunia kuba kan kunno hani temre ko yaje even this coming come the cyber this cyber million ko they have the black market kadunje to steal information and all that e mean tan wala nyinte ko film fenatra ko is connected to network is hackable but to a point that saying yeah foko what about even 100 film million ko they are not connectable computers million ko they have no network ye ko beleke pour que people try to ko beleke so many ways is do no cool ko from we've just experienced major hacking major security threats kamuna muntole in more secure networks for to a point that airport will be jammed labe jammed more experience jamba so ngamune experience na central bank o hacking yol sifalo wala tan ko kuta no kunnola jang dunia kono wo tambitale mo si haklo to bake ibe ko kuto alba dum dañu kono jang limbe sila bebe fola ñoka ado ñun commission min kal bebe lo ka be lo ko taymol mo la taymol wesla mo la resource be wesla kono ate la banda because mo nekata this culture of impunity kono be spend commission kunna ku boka boje kuto fola je ani yela no recommendation be ka fu ñoma ku boka boje nga kodo ka fu ñoma iko TRC kam ja ka fu ñoma TRC lomba ani CRC lomba abe ngamira be dum da ñamol kono wolumbe sila ñumbe be claim la ñumbe be account la Jibe, saying we are even going to talk about saying kodol miya lonko akaduna bankola rankiso kono wala kamene ko budget min yanda dunna sene lalla hakolto min yanda dunna leptano la kolto ya lol ya be subula bare mu nek nake ina wol kodol e kontole ko be nyele kala ina kodo bonde jaa ina samba la do ina bonde jaa samba la do ye fam ye kodo be because they are struggling to meet the current expenditure or recurrent expenditure fente fo julo men be mfa kan banko ka julo be mfa kan julo en kan katele islam jurumila sapikan o famu wala consequent mente wala na dala sobe boykan wala na fal dabe kolala nyinga nyim fom mode hanbe be mo adu nim man nga fole ko nim man nying ko man direction man falling ko liao man go fam man dati follow gambe follow ko le man dati de wati bina sila billah wala ne komi diaspora lon dron to nyaaje suturo do fam gambe kan wala diaspora lon dron par na man koti la dol bije wol be mo dol wuru kan moyka o banko ko leaten de molbe ande manatul fanka ma de nyande ba sonko hana tele mun ko dol atele mun ko dol soto you are meeting people men ko they are begging and sometimes you cannot blame them. It's the situation. There is no policy to to address these bread and butter issues. It's all about allowing the few people, me and uncle, they are very wicked, trying to shock us all by going into dodgy deals. Look at the airport. Look at the deal. It in the 21st century. Juma in deal sifa milanko abe torisol batandila airport. The inconvenience. There are smarter ways we could do this. Even if even they wanted to impose these security fees. There could be a better way of accounting it, monitoring it, without either airport or kodo kasmata ka konti airport to inya momulla. How uncomfortable, how odd is that in the 21st century? You have smarter systems, smarter ways of doing this. And then that will, in fact, increase the efficiency at the airport. Tourists, in and out. Because, one time, 1 minute long, yeah, waste more journey to. Yeah, Kujamal waste. Sometimes it can even lead to the flight delays or all these issues are there. Ni mol bita folo ye rangde yin ko jo ibina fa ne yin grand yin ko jo u fa dem man dem dunia be gambe dem man kanyinke inte ma moy airport la de mune ñin no ñim fanan mo adiyata mol ye bang akoyata mol bang ñim bina ñim fanan bekala another major inquiry in Gambia ni airport deal I mean tinya tourism kono I mean tinya na ko be kono and what opportunities nga membe min miska look at the there are security incidences happening at the airport. iko kono men kafo ko kono men tam ndede bulu anite bulu do fanam bulu iko for security tra airport. How many times we have been hearing about security breaches? Wolienda keleba. So ni airport deal billa and the Senegambia deal issue deal mini Gambian or photo deal minna ading mang ganyu. It's one of the worst deals any government can enter. Adu nyaje wande fa benyi minkaka nyaje nyi sifa kake jama mune kake due diligence le bakake before they award contracts. Before they have to check and look and scrutinize. They have legal experts, everything. But banku, they jealously guard their funds of the people. They make sure that whatever deal they are going to, they ganye. Mansakunda, banku, they become selfish. They put the people first, people the security first, and above all, what opportunity we could tap into. Because nite kanyin kiteng, opportunity mintingale. Equal of an way to see whether in fact there could be better ways to deal with this in smart ways. Dunia betaka nyame. Ndio kami nke kama ndako kununto kulu hanbe bemento in an environment malanko is evolving. And nina fa nande ko jama bije nintara ninna mol tata itata they go for negotiation outside to attract some direct flights or some routes melanko we want to fly to. We want to make the airport competitive enough. Becoming following the call, it will have to go somewhere because Gambia security Benyami, places like going to like New York and Gladwell Cifal, it will be hard because in the security we are unable to convince them the airport environment, everything, in terms of passenger security and dunia Benyakanya and terrorism for us to satisfy all those questions. Probably we are not passing the audits because America manga Gambia today. Damian ko be dunna ku kono miyalan ko sama sina banko mul batande wala banko dinu batandi. It loves border security is very 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 important to them. Ndola border security nim mom da fenti banko dol bije they have a lot to they invest in their border security. So ngal bla demande because ni ngani mon sifal moy do akan dak to blande mbetam mbe kol min foka mo le time and time again. Adu nin kontibo wato sita nko say alinyi ngani min be fale alem mo le bang halam bang hani okay halem mo la sa okay saying you are very informed yalla nako you are very informed yalla bina mo nekela ko take saying atolo information on yalla min for yolo ni ko you want to be now able to vote with as an informed sovereign citizen say ka ko to do that nanjo ko to e boyla so be menikala ebina le ye kumodun di bulokono ye kumodun e jimondo di bulokono ina cool beta ka be hitande mon lako ñi manki la problème ñi mo la problème when you already understand your problems ngay na fo mo la if you don't understand our problems we won't be able to solve them ngal lam moy follow.
Yeah, thank you so much. Abarakabake, Brother Lamin, these are very key important points. One thing I just want Gambian Korea for ham, okay, now, okay, say Akajo Airport, okay, I am economy tinya, I am Fanko tinya. But now, Melbe Malia Lonko will live Marali in Kodola Kuala, Melia Lonko will live in Afro Kolekanje. What impact? If a minute Nafa Kika Banko come, if a minute if a moon cool little Banko Kanja. Let's ask ourselves now, Fatim Baji will one of the Naton cottage in the airport. But that Fatim Baji will be there is a building many along Abelo Kanja, a multi-million building where Abelo Kanja. If neither the airport or neither a stadium or mapa, a Basaragi build no with the diplomats. The diplomat, Jumale, Yochino Koya allocate Jumale Fatim Baji. So in another formula, Koha. Fatim Baji ni India no Swami India inu wolle partnership soto wolle be blind doku kam Fatim owns the land but Swami India wolle be development no nke kanje but now let's check into our land act no jibe fo wotata silola bam famanta silola that is one of the thing me alon ko be nyanta ka jibe but now say felebo building no kanje where is that money coming from? We want to know the source of the money ko nyi kana nyaadi akadungo dulot nyaadi Swami India ko bonu mun tole sit Swami India for Koroda from the Indian bank bank who can investment from their own investment. ya bondu golto these are some of the things me alon ko be nyanta ka nyoki sis ka nyanka. So it's like masakuna be kodo taka lunta wol bulu masakuna be kodo taka banko timul bulu me alon ko kana pour que la banko visit. And in fact one of the most critical points that all in ko it will masakuna do hula alusai it will buka jo it will buka joro ke si it need nata with diplomatic passport it will buka jo. So mol me alon ko na flu be wol level me alon ko in fact when they are traveling masakuna ka kodo dila masakuna la kila padiamo ke some of them masakuna will give them impresses no will not with diplomatic passport or with service passport will bukajo. So you see yo ale klimbalaji fonga bibe wolto will bukajo but ite me alongo you are struggling ite me alongo you are in the diaspora ibe kodo nyine kam pour que la family balumbi you come back home in a show just to see your family because you know before you see your family because you know you have to pay $20 instead of you $20 ni ya samba yela nebo soala yela nebo mako anabe man mo kunto sana because no you have to pay that one to them. And where is this money going? You kodo kasa muntole
yaje mbela mo mbodi jansala nyami wala nyinti ko manza kunda kanyin ala wansol mil di na molla nyim padie molten mbeta fulale wala allowance tax buka jua kunna anyanta ki juanya kanya anyanta ka juanya me walantina do si ko do min do biye ka ko do min soto allowance ole buko fan soto le salary la bay salary wo mu iko tax le ando ni ko tax banko di nyanta ka tax jola ni ka ko do an in any way shape or form understand nyanta ka tax jola tax jomu banko dingu bele kunna. So once I'm coming from Manzakunda, near to the Benin tax collect, they have to collect it. There are better ways they could deal with this. But I feel saying, most of the Mielonko, well, in security report no more. What due diligence in Milike? Kajiko, we have a fair deal with the I can so can so far. Yes, if they have to give because dunia fana bita kanyami, sometimes in this globalized in this modern public administration, the concept is like you have to shrink the size of the government, by having private partnership with other bodies, especially where you lack the technical know-how. So if you have companies, they can offer to that. They can offer those technical services to make the service smarter and more efficient. Yes, but it should be done so as a mutual benefit, not one exploiting the other. So tax joe because there is no better system. The system could be better to a point that anyone traveling. That is why ticket they are paying them ticket, then they are going to pay because at the ticket or sadna the ticket airline will know we have to waive that tax from you. No, you have to pay the tax. Airline ticket or from Nina Hajibe. It can be discount deal more. It can discount deal coming from our money. But when it comes to tax, we tax like add la jele. So what tax we thing at the ebola jola. But the tax ibuko way from way because yalno ko mukule mianonko is a legal requirement. So ni atara ko nyanta ni tax jol collect la. It's fine. Atara bidam banko la ranke so kono dem nyatuta le soto yiruwa le soto. It's fine. But the manner in which ba kekan that is wo mukule mianonko is a very it's a cause of concern.
Yeah,
and then people that is no
mela kumakuntu ajele ega ticketing system moment. Okay, for example, let's say ni atara they charge you ila ticket okono, for example akatara world. Okay, now the accountability mechanism there would be great because abinyami wolo nyindiko nkalon ko model jita na airport. So now more everyday model jita because wakatara in the system ajiko in more car in the Gila airport or in motor water car, tender, it's all in the system. So already the system is also the number of income and the number of outgoing. At the end of it, this company the ticketing company will be reconciliation with the government. So by at the end of it, accountability will come. At the end of it, there will be physical discipline. But Nigeria, there is no physical discipline, there is no proper accountability mechanism, there will be no transparency. So wale atina these are some of the things me alonko I mean ibenne banko fa kan ibenne banko le economic kill kan anu banko yajele banko I mean banko titala no nyato nala fanko man strong the economy of the state is strong before the country can progress. So right now na banko le fanko le jika banko le fanko be jika nyame aka jumal le batandi aka badola le batandi aka badola le batandi senyo nyinu ka sai 2017 or 2016 man bodo be jelle sugur bodo be jelle jabo be jelle na dala soto sefa mu jelle na dala soto dollar mu jelle na dala soto euro mu jelle na dala soto pound mu jelle. So that's where you do a basic comparison to know the economy of a state. Why our currency is failing? Let the government tell us ya fonyo ko melasina na nafulo be jikam why the currency is depreciating. Masakunda need to tell us why these things are happening. What mechanism, what plans? Because
one of the reason is tourism is failing. Tourism has failed.
Okay.
And now our export also the export regime is also weak. You know, what are we exporting?
Why did the export weak? Because na export ni weak na ngatong mel fintin de banda weak. One of the key areas me along nka sotoke world ka fintin de banda olam na senola bunda olam the agriculture. So ninko agriculture side is not only about farming. Amang ko men kapo ko kata kunko ko do ko damma wala but ni na agriculture bunda e ba jelo ko e ka nyemuto soto jelto nyemutol bebe na senola bunda kono animal husbandry bebe senola bunda kono because for example nin Gambia ka data ne landsol me bembul ka data on malayandi o data on kana murunke dundi to international market we have a foreign currency strategy that foreign exchange wo be kala fenen me along it will help us to the economy bambandi na bakono na nyol melka bonna bakono Niantara Masakuna is actually looking at it very well. When you ke process jam ye bonna bako kan ye findi de banko doka mbe alona bi dunia be suro nyawla nyame o fanan be gelle o fanan be naplo gelle dunnan na
not only that fana there are certain times Masakunda fana nyanta ka menke. Yes, market be nyame, you cannot control market in such a way because market is volatile. Yeah, I understand. But mune nyanta keke fana sometimes fana wala nyanta ko some Masakunda nyantale to be a kilia demanding some of the local produce ye protect. You understand? Senegal bi ni ko ni 6 kilo bi dunda Senegal it is one. Ni ko ni malo mu so because those things they want to create the market. The market is there already or they've got those things. So they want to also enforce ko it is they cannot bring foreign goods to compete with them locally. So na found already a fungal protect that protection regime or protectionism also is very weak. You understand? So Senegal jibe kanyumi mfono Senegambia. But it have a found like especially some of these produce you can have do in Senegal. Yajibe whether they will allow you or not.
Yeah, because what they're protecting their local market.
Exactly.
So the local market also will let volunteer marco kela economy bambandi because the money flow within the country kodo nyinka flow banko kanne and banko dumul ka soto ke kodo nyinko all these things mu fele mi alon ko akela wala na sefa be kuliya ka wala sefa be bambanka wala sefa be rasul bute kan. Let's ask ourselves Senegal, but Senegal is bringing it. So Senegal is having exports in the Gambia. Senegal
Senegal la seaport GB la seaport GB is attracting a lot of shipping. It's a very popular shipping route. And neighborhood of Gambia tourists they could have come to Gambia and stayed in Gambia are all now going to Dakar or Senegal because ila James Reserve or nature reserve and other areas tourist attraction. They are is on an increase. Gambia has a lot of possibilities and opportunities in the main kind of to attract tourists. At a banner. We have Jufrenyol baby jele, these roots baby jele, and you have lots of cultural attractions. Mialanko they are dotted around the Gambia. Nyentamuru lolo kan revisit and revamp empower.
Yeah, so
I feel nobody fata Gambia banko ka. Amame bake the whole every Gambian was glued to tele looking at Senegal and Newbury, which only lasted for a few minutes or a few seconds. Huh?
Yeah. So I mean, normally I want to do it with time. I have only 3 minutes to go.
No, that's fine. No problem.
I have only 3 minutes to go, but left at one point left on follow down. When need Gambian and Senegal, not trading system only. Senegal yela local trading ya control and ibe kadoke kanka important export sort in a large volume. So that fenna would me alonko is economy in ababambandikan. But now let's come into our microfinance sector. Now Niagibe wave, for example, is one of the things me alonko. I mean, we need is challenging the foreign investor challenge, but it's not about challenging the foreign investors, but it's about our economy. The inflow, the amount of money. Gambia is a kodokino through to Senegal, to the shafer there, and then. But let's say Senegal near kodokino jam in wave, you cannot receive it with Gambian wave. So you have to receive it, with the Senegalese way. So Gambia can send money to Senegal, but Senegal cannot send money here. So all these things, and near wave GB for Alman Tankala at some point, because there are a lot of secrets behind wave. And time Mantaraje, so like I said, I will make a special topic about that. We've been, although we were using it, but me number I use come we'll discuss later. And thank you so much, Mr. Konate, for being here with us. Thank you, Wonderful, for being here with us. And thanks for everyone watching. And thanks to everyone. Melialonko, you have shared the program. It's your brother, Silpo Songo, aka Bayo Songo Gambia. Hakili Kilimanga Hakili. Na kuma jamal la fajam na kumul mel fo ni hatra to nyabeto ala subhanahu wa ta'ala la mako roleti na kuma fo me ya lonko to nyaman taroto mun tol adama di ala nasoreti bal hako danna alla wato la puka taraja alla hamu mente ka to nyamo inna ko kuma ko mo inna ka femo ina me ya lonko abe la farikal na bankolo ko ko na fem fo jam me ya lonko la farikal bankolo ko ko ala lonko mun tol adama di ala nasoreti fawfen be ala la mako rimbe ala tan be ala tentula man saba man kallanke pour ko miro dina ka femfo me ya lon ko banko na fabe wolo to for that being the case be danna jam as I intend to just do the program within just short minutes. Bafla ala barka bake. Thank you so much till another time again. Ala barka. Thank you.